Hello my sweet friends, welcome back. It's time to do our first TBR jar video for the year, which I'm so excited about. I didn't do a TBR for January, but of course I'm gonna do one for February. So we're here with our trusty jar and a pretty full looking TBR card. And we're just gonna pick out our TBR for the month. If you're new here, you don't know what these are. I just have a jar of prompts and I'm gonna pick out 8 prompts to match with 8 books from my TBR card. And that will be my TBR for February. In terms of how I'm feeling, I feel like a lot of people see February as Valentine's Day, which means a lot of romance books. I honestly haven't been in the biggest romance mood for the past couple months. I feel like I'm slowly getting back into it, but I usually like to have a range of books and I don't tend to pick books based on the season or holidays or anything like that. It depends. Sometimes I do a little bit, but it's not like I'm only going to be reading romance in February. I don't feel like I'm in the mood for anything very specific, but there are definitely certain books that I'm hoping that I'll be able to get to this month. I've been in a slump for the past month, maybe little over a month, and I'm not loving it. So hopefully February will be the month that I'm fully out of it. I feel like I'm starting to come out of it for the first time in ages. The other day I woke up and I was like, I really just feel like reading. I have not felt like that for so long. So I'm hoping February means I'm out of this slump, fresh month, fresh mood. Hopefully we can just jump into it. Also, I'm obviously filming this before February starts. So we have Crescent City 3 that comes out on January 30th. We also have Magnolia Parks coming out in February. We also have Bride by Ali Hazelwood coming out February 6th, I think it is. And we also have the 3rd book in the This Woven Kingdom series coming out. I think those are all the ones that are on my radar. I might be missing some, but we have some fun new releases coming out as well, so I want to keep that in mind. And there are still so many new releases that I haven't got to because I've been in a slump. We still have the 2nd Emily Wilde book, Ruthless Vows, that I haven't got to. So there's a lot of options. There's so many good books to be read. Anyway, I've been talking for too long, so let's just jump straight into our prompts. Starting off with number 1. This feels so fun. I haven't done this in so long. First prompt is continue a series. Ooh. Oh, I have some really great options for this. I feel like I either want to do Saving Six by Chloe Walsh, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, or Ruthless Vows. I think I'm gonna go with Emily Wilde. How gorgeous is this cover? I honestly hope I get to all of the other books that I just mentioned as well. But I feel like this will be a really great book to read, especially after reading something crazy like Crescent City or Magnolia Parks, where I'm so deeply attached to a series and I just need, I don't want to say a palate cleanser because this is still a 5-star prediction for me, but something that I know that I'm gonna love, but a world that I already enjoy and a world that I can kind of fall into, but it's a bit more peaceful, not so crazy, not so heart-wrenching, not so crazy action-packed dramatic as some of those other series that I mentioned. So I think this will be a really great in-between book. It's not gonna rip my heart out, I don't think, some of the other books that I'm hoping I'll read this month are. I've tried to stay away from reviews and even just people talking about this book in general, just so that I can really go in blind. I don't even know what the premise of this book is. I'm assuming we're just gonna be following Emily Wilde and probably Bamblebee on some other adventure, but I don't really know. I guess we'll wait and see. Prompt number 2, young adult fantasy. Ooh, I think I'm gonna go with Threads That Bind. I honestly don't have much young adult fantasy on this TBR. We have Skyward, which is young adult sci-fi. We have some adult fantasy. I think Princess of Souls could be YA, but I also could be wrong with that, so I don't want to pick it in case I'm not correct with that. And those might be our only options, so I feel like Threads That Bind is the safest, and it's also one that I've been really looking forward to. I've had this on my TBR, I don't know exactly how long, definitely a few months, and I don't know why. I feel like I've got a lot on here that I've been wanting to pick up, and I just genuinely haven't got there yet. Oh, I think Flower Heart is also YA fantasy. I think I'm still gonna stick with this, but I just saw this in the bookstore a few times, and you see the same book over and over and you almost get it and you don't, and then you finally get it. And I'm surprised I haven't read it yet because it's one of those books that I've just seen so many times and been intrigued by so many times, and then when I finally got it, I didn't read it straight away, which is kind of surprising. But this just sounds really fascinating to me. It's not one that I've heard a lot of people talk about. That doesn't mean obviously a lot of people haven't read it. It's It's just like people that I watch and people that I follow their reviews and things. Like I haven't seen a lot about it, which is kind of fun because it means that I can really go in quite blind and without any expectation. But when I did buy this, I feel like a bunch of you guys were like, oh my gosh, I really loved that. So that gives me hope. It sounds like a really interesting magic system because I think there are some sort of like magic threads that bind people together. Threads that bind. Crazy. Imagine that. When a relationship is formed, a new thread appears. When a person's life thread is cut, it's their time to die. And that just sounds really interesting. And I think there's a bit of like a murder mystery situation going on, which I do really enjoy. I love it when fantasy books have a bit of like a mystery element to it. It says that these two characters are thrown together to solve a case. It says, simmering with romance, passion, mystery, and myth, this spellbinding story will leave you breathless. It honestly sounds like it has all my favorite things. Like, it's YA fantasy, an interesting magic system, mystery, romance, like really couldn't ask for much more. So really excited about that one, and it's not too long either. Prompt number 3, colorful book cover. I feel like I have a lot of colorful ones going on. I feel like my first thought is Good Material by Dolly Alderton. Obviously there's so many colors going on here. I mean, like, what is colorful? Like, I feel like that could be interpreted differently, but The Wishing Game is also very colorful. I feel like Ruthless Vows is not giving like colorful. It definitely has multiple colors, but it's not like giving like colorful. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have other ones that are like colorful. I feel like Flower Heart is colorful, but not as colorful as some of the other ones. I feel like I have a lot of options here. I think I'm gonna go with The Wishing Game. I saw Bestie Haley talk about this and rate it 4.5 stars, I think it was, and that just convinced me that I needed to read it. I've heard that it's quite like heartwarming and warm and fuzzy vibes. I'm not sure if it's like cozy, I think it's like magical realism. I don't know that much about it. Years ago, a reclusive, mega-selling author quit writing under mysterious circumstances. Suddenly, he resurfaces with a brand new book and a one-of-a-kind competition, offering a prize that will change the winner's life. Why is it giving me like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibes? In a childhood marked by neglect and loneliness, Lucy found her solace in books. Stop, that's so cute. She's a teacher's aide. That's what I used to be. Oh, Lucy is able to share her love of reading with bright young students, especially 7-year-old orphan Christopher. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to read this. This is giving like Matilda, Miss Honey vibes. Meets Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, meets just like heartwarming, cozy cuteness. I'm so excited. I can't wait to read this. This always like goes so fast and I'm always so sad when it's over. Because I love doing this. I love picking out these prompts. A non-fiction book. Not really in the mood for non-fiction, but I have started one that I really should finish. So let me go grab it. It's in the other room. I started this book probably a couple months ago, and then I kind of got distracted, started reading something else. And during January especially, I've been reading another non-fiction book that I'm hoping I'll finish by the end of January. I haven't finished it yet, but there's a few more days in the month, so I'm hoping I'm going to finish it, so I can't use that one for this prompt. But the other one that I've started and haven't finished and really, really want to finish is called The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. This is one that my therapist actually recommended, and like I said, I've already started this and I really enjoyed it when I was reading it, so I don't really know, I don't like have a reason why I stopped, apart from that I often just get distracted by reading fiction books instead of non-fiction, and it just takes me a bit longer to get through non-fiction in comparison. But I want to finish this because it was really interesting, it was really insightful, and I feel like it will be very like useful but also interesting. I hate reading non-fiction that's genuinely just boring, but I feel like there are so many non-fiction books out there that are so fascinating, and for me personally, I love understanding people and people's behavior, and this is one of those books that will help me do that. So if you haven't heard of The 4 Tendencies, it's basically this idea or this theory that every person falls into one of 4 categories, and that category is your tendency. Your tendency kind of relates to where your motivation for things comes from, whether you're someone that kind of has more extrinsic motivation or intrinsic motivation. Are you more of a people pleaser? Are you more self-motivated? It's really, really fascinating, and understanding what your tendency is obviously very insightful, because you can help yourself learn how to motivate yourself and learn how to, you know, like start habits that you want to start but you've never been able to, and you're like, oh, why have I never been able to stick with something? Maybe it's because you're kind of approaching it in the wrong way, whereas when you know your tendency, you might be able to approach that better. But I just love understanding how people's brains work and where people's behavior kind of stems from. So I definitely want to read this. And it's pretty short, so I'm sure I can get through that very easily if I actually just don't forget about it. Moving on to prompt number 5, a book you've been putting off. Oh no. I mean, there are so many books I could do for this. Obviously, there are some that I've been avoiding more than others. You know what? I'm gonna go with All the Light We Cannot See, because this is a book that's been on my TBR since I think 2021, I want to say, which is obviously a really long time. And it's a book that I've always wanted to read. It's not one of those things where I'm like, oh, like I'm putting it off because I don't want to read it. I'm more so putting it off because it's like a genre that I don't normally lean to. I think it's going to be pretty sad as well, and I don't love sad books. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not. I feel like a lot of people love books that make them feel something and like kind of rip their heart out. I don't know. Is that a popular or an unpopular opinion? I really don't know. But I don't love being sad. But I think this is classified as historical fiction, and I feel like this is one of those books that people are just like, this is one of the best books I've ever read. And I feel like there's a lot of pressure on it. So I'm kind of nervous, I'm kind of scared. I know some of you are going to be mad that I didn't pick certain other books, but I want you to know that I have like a video in mind that I want to do with certain books that I've been avoiding. So I want to get to them, but in the like context of that video, and I don't know if I want to film that video in February, so just keep that in mind. But I am excited to read this, but I've definitely been putting it off. Blind since the age of 6, the world is full of mazes. Like, you're gonna make me read about a blind child? Like, my heart already hurts. The miniature of a Paris neighborhood made by her father to teach her the way home. Stop. I've actually never read the synopsis of this. The microscopic layers within the invaluable diamond that her father guards in the Museum of Natural History. Oh my gosh, like this is gonna be a lot, but I think it'll be really good. I'm like excited, but I feel like this is gonna hurt. So I'm gonna have to be like emotionally ready for it, you know? But it's time. I think this is also on my like 24 books I wanna read in 2024, and I haven't read any of those books yet. And obviously, if we're gonna like be logistical with it, I should be reading 2 of the books from that list per month if I just want to like make it easier for myself to like keep up with it, and I haven't read any, so I should be reading 4 this month if I want to like catch up. So we'll see. But I'm excited to read this. I'm really nervous about it. Prompt number 6. We have a really great selection here, I will say. We mostly have fantasy. We have 1 non-fiction. We have 1 historical fiction. We have some YA, I guess, so that's good. But we haven't got any romance so far on this list. Next prompt is a book you thrifted. I don't really have a lot of options for this anymore. What have I thrifted? Ooh, I could do When You Were Everything, The Immortalists, The Perfect Wife. I think those are my only options currently. I think I'm gonna go with When You Were Everything. This is also on my 24 books I want to read in 2024, so that would be a huge slay if I can tick off another one. And this is one that I'm honestly really excited about and have been really wanting to read. I assume this is just like young adult, not like young adult romance, young adult mystery, whatever. It's just young adult as far as I'm aware. But apparently this is about what it's like to go through a friendship breakup. I got this recommendation from Medita. I'm so intrigued by the concept of this. Like, going through a friendship breakup is one of the most painful things you can go through, and I feel like it's not talked about enough, and also like not talked about enough in books specifically where it's like the main thing going on. I feel like there's often books, especially in YA, where there's like friendship breakdowns and it's kind of like a side plot and there's like conflict with friends and stuff, but it's never like the main thing. So I think this is like the main thing, and that really, really, really intrigues me. So we'll see how this goes. I'm excited. Prompt number 7. A book with a map. So obviously it's probably going to be fantasy. What do I feel like reading? No map. No map. Oh, will Crescent City have a map? I feel like they do. Crescent City 1 had a map. Did Crescent City 2 have a map? Yes, okay. I'm going to assume that Crescent City 3 will have a map, and I'm going to use that for this prompt because that is a huge book. And I just like don't want to put so much on my TBR that it's going to be unrealistic, and I already know that I want to read Crescent City in February. And even if I start it on January 30th, when it comes out, I'm definitely not going to finish it on January 30th. So I'm going to use that for this prompt and just pray that it has a map. If it doesn't, I'll read something else with a map. Surely it's going to have a map if the other 2 did. I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous for Crescent City. Okay, that means this is our last prompt. We still have no romance on this TBR, so maybe we'll do that for this last prompt. We'll see what the prompt is. 5-word title. How to Love Your Neighbor. Okay, we have one. 2 wrongs make a right. Another option. Okay, I'm gonna go with one of these. Would I rather do 2 wrongs make a right or How to Love Your Neighbor? I think I'm gonna go with 2 wrongs make a right by Chloe Leese. I've heard really good things about this. As far as I'm aware, I think this is like a fake dating book, and I think it's about 2 friends where their friends want to set them up because they think that these 2 people would be perfect together, and they just like won't shut up about it. But these 2 people are like, we don't think we'd be good together, but they're kind of like, just to make our friends shut up and like stop trying to set us up together, we'll fake date, fake break up, and then, you know, like move on and date other people and whatever. And at least then our friends can't try and like set us up again because we've already tried and didn't work, you know? So I assume they start fake dating and then probably they're gonna fall in love. I'm assuming. Like, it sounds just like a bit of fun, and it's not too long. Just like a cute little rom-com, like 340 pages. Gorgeous. I'm really hoping I love this because I do already own like the 2nd book in this little, I'm assuming it's like interconnected standalones kind of vibes, which is called Better Hate Than Never. So hopefully I love the 1st one and then can also read the 2nd one and love that one, but I guess we'll wait and see. But at least we have a romance on this list now. So we have a really good TBR. Like, I'm really happy with this TBR. Let me just reshuffle and then we'll do a bit of a recap. So for our February TBR, we have Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, Threads That Bind, The Wishing Game, The 4 Tenancies, All the Light We Cannot See, When You Were Everything, 2 Wrongs Make a Right, and lastly, Crescent City 3, House of Flame and Shadow. Honestly, I'm so excited about this TBR, and I'm excited to just have a TBR again. I didn't make one for January, and at first I thought that was like nice to like not have a TBR and just kind of have a bit of a break from having a list of books that is kind of like, oh, you like should read this, you know? But tell me why I kind of missed having a TBR, and I kind of like having a smaller group of books that I'm kind of focusing on. I feel like it helps me focus on my physical TBR. I feel like it helps me be a little bit less overwhelmed with options, and also helps me keep some variety in my TBR because I normally try and choose a TBR that has, you know, some genre variety there. But I'm excited about this. I also hope that I get to some other books. I really want to get to Bride by Ali Hazelwood, obviously Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, Ruthless Vows as well. Like, there are so many other books that I'm also hoping I get to. I'm just hoping that I'm in like the biggest reading mood in February because obviously I wasn't in January. So hopefully after just like a chill reading month, I can just dive into being obsessed with books. But we won't put any pressure on it. We'll just kind of wait it out and see what happens. But I would love to know what's on your TBR for the month, so let me know in the comments below. But I hope you guys have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you guys in my next video very soon. Goodbye.